It's time for Living with Victory, a program of hope and encouragement brought to you by Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Now here's your host, President of Compassion for Kids, Tony Giorgio, with today's message of perseverance.
Welcome to Living with Victory. I'm your host, Tony Giorgio, with my co-host, Laureen Giorgio, proving every week life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. We call it perseverance and faith, above all, in Jesus Christ. Hey, and by the way, the opinions expressed on this program are the opinions of the host and hostess, not the organization and not the radio station. And just a reminder, you can email us your comments or prayer requests to livingwithvictory@gmail.com. That's livingwithvictory@gmail.com. Later on in the program, before we go off the air, have a paper and pencil ready, and I will give you additional information on how to reach us. By the way, I want to mention our partners, the Journey Christian newspaper, which is a free monthly print and online publication offering Christian perspective news, Christian events, encouraging articles. You can visit them at their website, journeychristiannews.com. The Christian newspaper encouraging Christians on their walk with Christ. And the partnership we have is in their Summit Events website. If you click, we have an ad on the front page. You click that and it'll take you to our website. So remember them. They're good people, and it's a free print or online if you're not in the area. Also, something I very rarely do, and I should, and since it fits in the scope of the program today, the voice you hear of the announcer and when we exit the program and the music and all is done by a wonderful individual who edits the shows and does some of the production, Tim Hodges. He's a 30-year radio veteran, he's got a great voice, but you never hear him, his name, or any of that on the air. But I want to give him thanks today for doing what he does. He's a real good friend. Tim Hodges, thank you for being there for us. And before another minute goes by, I need to introduce my wife, Laureen, who I'm extremely proud of and has the word of the day and the topic. Hey, Laureen.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm glad that you have chosen to join us today. We're going to talk about two little words that seem very insignificant but carry a lot of weight. Thank you. This is from Luke 17:12 through 19. As Jesus was going into one village, he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance. They raised up their voices and called, "Jesus, Master, take pity and have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go at once and show yourselves to the priests." As they went, they were cured and made clean. Then one of them, upon seeing that he was cured, turned back, recognizing and thanking and praising God with a loud voice. He fell prostrate at Jesus' feet, thanking him over and over. He was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Was there no one found to return and to recognize and give thanks and praise to God except this alien?" He said to him, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith, your trust and confidence that spring forth, your belief in God has restored you to health." This is such a wonderful lesson to us. How many times do we beg God to help us, and we promise him all kinds of things if he would help us? I mean, these men were lepers. What a horrible life to be put in a special place away from your family and friends and everyone because they were so contagious. I mean, leprosy is something that is just so horrible, and yet Jesus had pity on them. And he told them to go, and they did listen to what he demanded. What he had commanded is to go, to take that first step to the priest. but only one had Thanksgiving in his heart and came back to thank him. And ironically, it was the one who was the lower class, because the other 9 were all Jews. And no one came back from those 9 to thank him. They just took it for granted. And this man just over and over kept thanking him and saying in such a humble way, knowing the miraculous thing that God had given him. He had given him back his life. And we need to say thank you. We need to say thank you to each other. We need to say thank you to God. It makes such a world of difference to do that. Even Jesus was I think at that point in verse 18, he was hurt. I think he was really hurt that the other 9 just took him for granted, and didn't appreciate the fact that he had healed them, because he did not have to do it. He really did not have to do it. He could have left them the way they were.
It's so true. That reminds me of a story, how we operated in compassion in the old days, and we still do today, with people who donated money. Now, by law, if you have an amount over $200, I think it is, or $250, you have to send them a written notice that this is what they sent. Otherwise, you don't really have to. So you never get that communications back from your donations a lot of times. What we did, and of course we were a grassroots organization, little tiny. I know the bigger organizations, they get enough money in that they can't really handle it on an individual basis. This is true. But what we used to do, my wife and I, we'd take the checks that would come in, and before we would deposit them in the check, as we're writing on the back for deposit only, we'd write the words "thank you." And in those days, you'd get your checks back in the mail with your statement. So people would get this, and I never realized the effect it had. I just did it automatically, just hoping that somebody would see it. But many times at events, we'd have supporters come, and they would mention the fact that this little thank you on the back of a check was so refreshing, and they were so happy to see it. It made them feel good that we actually took the time to do that. So that's the little thing, the little thank you, the teeny weeny thing that you don't think matters to somebody who is giving and doing. Yeah, that meant everything to them. Those little 2 words, right?
I believe that you can make somebody feel so valuable and raise their ego to the sky by a simple thing of thank you. Because thank you says, I appreciate you. I value you. I value the time you sacrifice to do this for me. I thank you for your kindness. I just thank you for caring enough for me to do this for me. Thank you. But do you know how you make someone feel sometimes, and we all do this, when we take it for granted, as these lepers took Christ for granted and just walk away? I don't know, do we sometimes feel it was owed to us? These people don't have to go out of their way for us. They really don't. And to say thank you just makes the world of difference, and it increases your relationships. It just makes them blossom a little bit more, because people they turn around and they appreciate you more.
We take each other for granted in a marriage a lot. What the wife does, what the husband does, sort of role playing. We were brought up like that. Ever since Laureen got diagnosed with the breast cancer and everything, I've taken on a lot of the housekeeping duties and what had to be done. And I've never shied away from it, saying that it's women's work, because I never believed in that. You do what you have to do, period. In taking on her everyday chores in the house alone, between cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, I said to myself, wow, I can't believe what this person does, what she's been doing all the time. No wonder she gets tired, and I come in the door and she's She can't even move some days, and I'm saying, well, what's the matter with you? You're home. The ignorance in the mind about you're out working, that I appreciate and I thank her often now, because I'm saying, wow, I walked a mile in her shoes. This is what you got to do. Everyday little things like cooking. You wouldn't have that food on the table if she said, I don't, because she doesn't have to do it. There's no law that says she has to do anything, but she does it. We all do in a marriage, and that's something that I think as years go by, and it's been 45 of them, we sort of get complacent. We sort of take the other person for granted. This is what they do. That saying thank you means a lot. It means a lot. It means, hey, I realize you're there. So that's just a little something between us guys and girls. It helps a great deal to walk a mile in your wife or your husband's shoe, whichever. Don't wait until something happens to have to do that, whether it's picking up my clothes and putting it in the hamper, no matter what. That's just another example of how you need to say thank you for the little things.
Well, I know I've been saying thank you to Tony for quite a while now since he's been doing this, but I do want to say thank you to him right now publicly, because he has made my recuperation so much easier, knowing that things are getting done. He's worked very hard to try to keep things up and going, and I have to say thank you to him.
Believe me, I don't know what I'm doing.
He's becoming quite a cook.
Oh, yes. Bringing back my skills from the old days at Disney and the top of the world. And I don't think I want to go back to that, but I enjoy it. This isn't a Laureen and Tony gratification program, but I appreciate that very much. And if it helps, that's what we have to do. We have to help each other. And I thank you.
You're welcome, dear.
And now I know we're heading down the road. So, as I said, we will give you some information on how to contact us. And I think this is the time, if you have your piece of paper and pencil, let me give you the rest of the information. If you want to contact us through our website, it's very simple. It's livingwithvictory.org. livingwithvictory.org. Or you can go to the email, like I said, livingwithvictory@gmail.com. And through that website, you can listen to previous shows. There's 15-minute segments there on the front page you can hit. You can click Contact Us and send a message or a prayer request. And most of all, remember this, that we are supported by our listeners and friends. We don't have a large organization. We are truly mom and pop, and that's the way we operate. So if you'd like to send us a donation, send it to Post Office Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. And for today, we are on our way out the door, but we thank you for listening. And remember, till next week, this is Tony
and Laureen
saying, keep dancing in that rain, because Jesus is your umbrella. Have a great one. Hey, tell your friends about us.
You've been listening to Living with Victory with your host, motivational and inspirational speaker, Tony Giorgio. Support for Living with Victory comes from Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Your tax-deductible donations can be sent to Compassion for Kids, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. Tony is also available to speak to your group or organization. You can call him at 828-926-4600. Join us again next week at this time for another uplifting story of dancing in the rain.
Jesus is with me when the storm clouds gather. He's standing by my side.